Am I live? Let's just mute that so I don't hear myself if I am. Oh no. Here comes the infinity. Cool. So, oh my. It's really like blowing my mind watching that happen. Okay, there we go. So I'm live. Hopefully you guys can all see me okay. And again, my OBS has failed at telling me how many people are actually watching, which is really exciting. Let's just check. There we go. There was one guy, I'm trying to remember who it was. There was one guy that was actually specifically asking when I was going to be streaming because he wanted to ask some questions, but I don't know who it is. There we go, that's better. Helps if I put on the right thing. So, how is everyone doing? If you want to ask a question, then type !Q and then type in the question. It'll arrive in a dedicated channel in my Discord server that I can see so that I can answer them. So far, I have been asked, is anyone online? To which I can reply, yes, some people are. When green? That depends on on your portfolio, when you copied me, really. We until today we were having a really nice earnings period, but as you can see if I go up here to my second screen, where I've got a few different stocks open, you can see like Microsoft falling off despite the fact that they had a great earnings. So this is what happened after their earnings. So we made some good profit on there. I did close a couple of positions out, but we've since come back down here. Down here we have Twitter. So we're on a 4-hour chart here on Twitter, and you can see it opened at like 37, and it's continued to fall all the way down to 34. I thought it was going to hold a little bit higher than that up here, but you know, this long-term trend line we've got over here, this orange trend, and the support resistance level here, which does go all the way back over here, you know, to some other previous areas. My what's are they? How fucked up? Really? That's funny. They must have changed it. Oh well, I'll just go to. Let me bring it up. They must have changed their website. Oops, wrong place. There you go, editor. What the f? Yeah, they're really fucked up, aren't they? They're fucked up pretty special. Should I just delete them for now? Or hide them? Yeah, let's just. I don't want to fuck it up irreversibly. I can. The thing is, the full screen one only exists for my main screen. That template doesn't exist for the other screens. So, yeah, maybe I'll just leave it and people can just admire how borked they are. Let me just check the properties on it. /markets /cryptocurrencies. Don't think that's where it's probably meant to go. Try to remember where it should be pointing to. Let's just try this. Okay, that didn't work at all. Huh, how weird. I think maybe it's because they've like repositioned them or something. I don't know. Well, I'm just going to leave them. I'm just going to leave them for now. Thanks for the subscription, by the way. 5 months in a row. Man, I had no idea anyone had subscribed to me that long. That's really cool. Yeah, anyway, I'll continue talking now that I've been suitably distracted. So at the top, you can see we've got Facebook up here as well. This is on daily chart, so you can see it's looks like it's stabilized down here, just up at this support level here, which I haven't drawn on. There's another one up here as well. So hopefully that can start to recover. I did short this, so we made this profit here, but it was only one position, unfortunately, and it was only 1x leverage. I really didn't feel comfortable risking more than that. Unfortunately, I did have a few concerns heading into Twitter's earnings that like maybe the price had gone a bit too far, and like I was more comfortable around the $40 range, but I decided to keep the majority of them open. So unfortunately, we have missed out on some nice profit there, and we have had to instead eat a bit of a loss, especially as it's dropped down further. I thought it was going to stabilize around 37 or so, but it looks like it's gone down to probably the lower level that I've actually got listed on here. It's up here. Oh, there we go. Yeah, up here you can see I think it's probably going to settle just above this support line. That's where it should settle, I think. Wasn't a particularly bad earnings, just I think that there are a lot of people that have concerns around users, especially daily active users and monthly active users, following their work to try and get rid of spam, which if any of you use Twitter as much as I do, probably know doesn't appear to have really yielded any results yet. But yeah, anyway. So yeah, today's unfortunately wiped out pretty much all the gains we made yesterday. I think if I head onto my newsfeed over here, you can see over here. So we're down 2% today. And I think yesterday we lost about 1.5%, and the days before that we made about 4%. So we're still up by like 0.5% or so. And I did close a few positions like during all of this madness, as you can see. I've been closing a lot of positions like Wix and stuff as well during their earnings. Here's the Facebook one, 18.8%. Not too bad. I could have held it a bit longer, but I'd rather just take the gains. Right, let's answer some questions, I guess. He says. Yeah, the Twitter one has probably removed. Let's see. So we made $70 from the Facebook short, and if we go on to our Twitter, wherever it is, so Twitter dropped by about 12-13%. So 12-13% of 2000s. 100, yeah, that's definitely more than we made on the Facebook trade, unfortunately. But luckily, I was sensible, didn't have any leverage trades open, so we can afford to hold on to these without any worries about fees or anything like that. As I said earlier, I'm still pretty confident in Twitter, and that they're on a good trajectory. I can't say that word. I don't know why I attempted to. But yeah. Picked up more Facebook and First Solar. Yeah, I've got one position open in Facebook now, one long position. I think it's red at the moment slightly. Okay, 1.4% down. First Solar, I actually haven't listened to their earnings call yet, so I've got it open here. You can see I'm like 5 minutes into it. And I'm just kind of like looking through some of the numbers and stuff. But it seems like they didn't drop too bad, like 3 or 4%, which is not too bad because they actually spiked up a bit before as well. The interesting one I think will be SolarEdge, because I think SolarEdge are the ones that may show some immunity to the stuff that happened with China specifically in the solar market. So I think they're the ones that should do a bit better from it. But their earnings report is a weird time. I'm pretty sure it's in like 3 weeks or something. So basically after everyone else has done theirs. Okay, questions. When is the eToro wallet coming? So I'm not sure if I'm allowed to tell you, but I'm going to do it anyway and just hope that eToro don't tell me off, which is that they are testing it now. And I actually had an invite to test it. I didn't bother because I think they're only testing on mobile clients at the moment, and I would prefer to have just tested it on PC or whatever. So yeah, I've declined it, but I know that there are some other popular investors that are testing it, and yeah. So I guess it is definitely coming, and it must be coming reasonably soon. So keep your eyes out for it, I guess. I'm sure eToro will update us. I would imagine that they're going to test it pretty rigorously because, a wallet is something that you really don't want to go wrong. So I would rather that they take their time and implement it well, which is what they appear to have been doing, than just rush it out because lots of people want it. What do you think about Spotify? Do you think it's a good long-term hold? I do think it's a good long-term hold. They increased their premium accounts by I think it was like, I'm trying to remember what it was, 8 million, I think. And I'm trying to remember what it was. So I haven't listened to their call yet, but I did read a few bits about it. Just to make sure that I didn't need to urgently go and check it out. Spotify's next on my list after First Solar, but I believe they actually converted a lot of old long-term freemium model users. So a lot of people that are using the free version of Spotify actually converted to paying for the premium model. To the point that I think the premium users grew faster than just normal users, which is pretty interesting and pretty good news. I've always, pretty much since Spotify, IPO'd, although it wasn't a proper IPO, since they did that, I said that they've got the same sort of potential as Netflix. They have a near monopoly in their market, I think, and yeah, realistically, they've got a lot of areas that they can branch out into. They've already started doing more podcasts and things like that. It wouldn't actually surprise me if they started doing audiobooks, honestly, and competing with Amazon. But for the time being, they're focusing on just improving the product and adding more users, and they're also working on some hardware devices, I believe, as well. I haven't checked into that in a while, but the last I heard about that was back in like January or something, that they were working on some cool hardware devices to go into cars and things like that, which would be really cool as well. But yeah, generally, I'm really pretty bullish on Spotify. They had a decent earnings. I'm not sure why their price is down so much. It seems like the whole market is just down a bit, apart from cryptos, which have just kind of gone nuts in the past couple of hours. But yeah, overall, pretty happy with Spotify, and I will be looking to increase my position in them. I think I've got two or three trades open, and now I bought the dip a little bit of these. So this was actually green earlier. So yeah, the whole market is just down today. I don't know if Donald Trump's done something I haven't checked, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. It is a Friday as well, so sometimes the market just drops a bit on a Friday anyway, ahead of the weekend. A lot of people taking profits and stuff, especially with earnings period as well. It does happen. But yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with these positions. That was a really long answer, wasn't it? Let's read some chat, because I'm ignoring the chat and just reading questions. Jesse has increased his Bitcoin exposure like a madman. Why selling Bitcoin Cash now? You know what? I just think so. Yeah, well spotted, by the way, because I only opened that not very long ago at all, and so far it's doing absolutely dreadfully. So maybe we'll just pretend I never did it. Yeah, so I did indeed open a short on Bitcoin Cash. I just genuinely feel that Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, potentially Ripple, could still die from this current bear market. At the very least, I don't see them staying in like the top 5-6 cryptocurrencies. All three of them. I think all three of them should drop out, and grow at a much slower pace than some of the cryptocurrencies around them. The problem is that Litecoin, for example, I spoke about probably a few weeks or maybe even over a month ago now. Decided to get rid of my final couple of positions that I had in them. I don't have any in my personal wallet either. And that's basically because I just don't see them with any USP, especially since the LightPay stuff all kind of crumbled and disappeared as well. I just don't see any real unique properties to it that make it something that's worth that much. And with Bitcoin Cash, same sort of thing. Like they're not innovating at all. And if you go on to bitcointransactions.com or whatever it's called, or Transaction Highway or whatever it is, and you have a look at Bitcoin Cash and then compare it with Bitcoin, it's a complete joke. There's more transactions going on in Ethereum just for Augur than there is for for one smart contract than there is for Bitcoin Cash. There's more transactions in Dogecoin than in Bitcoin Cash. There's more transactions in Litecoin. There's more transactions in NEM. It's a joke. Nobody's actually using it, and the reason nobody's using it is because it's not as much as they keep trying to call it Bitcoin Cash. It really is just a get rich quick scheme that I think has been worked on by Bitmain in combination with Roger Ver and a few of his friends, and I think we're seeing it play out in front of our eyes. More and more people are leaving it and realizing that it's pretty worthless. And Segwit did work, and they were spreading a lot of FUD about it. I hate using the term FUD, but But yeah, so I've opened one short on it. I don't plan on opening any more. I just think it could be worth keeping open because I think if this bear market does drag on, let's say until the end of the year, I feel like they're going to become a victim of it. And at the very least, there's no way that they can keep up with some of the cryptocurrencies below it, like IOTA and EOS and things like that, which actually are trying to do things and innovating pretty actively. So I hope that answers your question. It's a bit of a risky play. It is a bit of a risky play. I don't particularly enjoy shorting cryptocurrencies, but I just feel like one position, 1% of my portfolio shorting it could turn out to be a really, really nice win for us. But it'll probably take several months. But we'll see. We'll see. If I can make a decent return on it during the bear market, then maybe I'll just close it then. But I don't plan on letting it get to like anything more than 20% loss because that's I think that's just too much really. But we will see. We will see. Have some 7-Up while I read some questions. Let's see. Opinion on stock market recession and Nasdaq bubble in 2018 2019. I said at the start of the year that I was worried, and I actually took quite a lot of precautions, which in hindsight, after looking through stats and stuff, really hurt me. Taking such heavy hedges on the Nasdaq, on FTSE, things like that. They're some of my worst performing trades of the year. But they were a hedge, so in some ways they were designed to lose, but they lost very dramatically. Of course, obviously, if the market did crash, they would have done very well. But yeah, no, I'm just, it feels like we're going to eke it out a bit longer. I think there's so many things that could really act as a catalyst for it, though. Like you look at the situation with like Brexit, for example. I think if there is a no deal Brexit and the UK leaves the EU without any sort of deal or something, the economic effects in the UK could then have knock-on effects with Europe and everyone else, and that could become a catalyst for it. There's several other things obviously that can cause it as well, like you've got the hyperinflation situations, you've got situations even with cryptocurrencies with over in Venezuela and Russia and Iran and places like that are trying to use it to avoid tariffs. There's quite a few different things that could cause some like disruption to the wider economy. So I think it's possible. I don't think it's going to happen this year anymore. I did at the start of the year. I genuinely thought it was about to happen, but it looks like it's going to go on for a little while longer yet. Maybe another year, maybe 2. You never really know. You just kind of got to be on your toes for when you start seeing the signs of it. Such Street. Hold on. Do you have a price or time goal regarding your crypto holdings? Yes and no. So like I think I've explained this a few times, but honestly I should probably add it to like my FAQ or something to kind of talk through my broad like trading strategy and how it works effectively, because it's been a while since I've really explained it. So I guess potentially quite a lot of you guys don't really understand fully how I trade. So generally I trade all 3 kind of different lengths of trading, right? So I do long-term trading, I do medium-term trading, and I do effectively day trading. If we go into my history, actually, we can see some pretty good examples of it. So, like, you can see some of the trades today, like this one in AMD, it was only 0.68% profit, and this one as well, which hit stop loss, unfortunately. Both of those are day trades. They were open for, this one was open for 7 minutes. This one was open a bit longer. But if we head a bit further down, and you look at something like hopefully this one, no, not that one. Although I guess that counts as a medium term one. I'm not going to find any examples now that I like, am I? Okay, so Shopify is a decent example. So if you look at Shopify here, you can see 20% profit closed out. That's a much more like medium term kind of trade at just about 2 months, slightly less than 2 months. And then likewise, I have some positions that I keep open for 3, 4, 5, 6 months even. The way I basically trade is that I always trade with my long-term view on where something is going, right? So if we take a look in my portfolio right now, because this is the easiest way of explaining it, I think. And we look at, for example, what's something that I've got quite a lot of positions in? Maybe Wix, they're all quite recent though. Square would have been a good example, but I've closed a lot of the positions. Let's try Netflix, I guess, and hope that I've got some good stuff in here. So Netflix, got some okay stuff in here. Netflix is something that I believe in long term. I think that they have got a very, very good chance of basically dominating this space for the foreseeable future. The only real threat to that is Disney. And so, generally speaking, I think there's still loads more territories for them to expand into. They've barely touched Asia yet. There's still lots of work they can do in Europe and like more localized content, which I've started to do. All of these things make me, pretty bullish on them for the long term. But I also trade them in the short term, knowing that for the long term. I don't short them unless I'm very, very sure about it, because I know that in the long term, I expect them to do very well. That being said, I still look for opportunities and dips in their price to try and trade in the short term. So if we have a look again through my history of Netflix, you can see that following their earnings, it was actually in my last report, you can see this bulk of trades here for various different percentages, and most of those were basically day trades. So you can see when they're all opened, 17th, and that one was closed on the 18th. A bunch of them closed on the 17th. So this is right after their earnings period. All of these trades took place. And it's because I saw an opportunity to trade along with my long term, in line with my long-term outlook, but to make some good profits in the short term. And I do the same for the medium term and the same for the long term, effectively. And if a trade goes bad, that's a short-term trade, unless it's leveraged, then I can pretty easily just carry it on into a medium-term trade and just hold on to it. See, I did actually short it here as well, you can see. So I do short sometimes, but I gave up on it pretty quickly because I'm not too greedy. But yeah, so by doing this, it means that if we generally take a look even at my cryptos, you will see a mixture of positions, some that are really, really old, like these ones back here, which are, from December, from right before, I mean, that was pretty much bang on the day that the drop started, really. But at the same time, we also have some slightly newer ones. So we have like this one over here, and which would have been probably a short-term trade that turned into a medium-term one. And then we have up here some much more short-term trades that were opened really quite recently. Well, this one was. These ones weren't. And again, if we go into my history, you'll see the same thing. So I trade based on long-term outlook, but I trade actively if I can to try and basically minimize our risk by not always keeping full exposure, and hopefully maximize our gains by trying to catch the big moves when they do happen and make sure that we are fully exposed to the maximum that we realistically should be when there is a chance of something going up. So I hope that explains it, and that I've not just spoken a bunch of shit. What's popping? What do I think of Cardano? I'll answer that one in a bit. Do you think we'll see the same crypto numbers at the end of the year like the end of 2017 in terms of profit by percentage? No, I don't think so. Not at this point. It's possible. I think the ETF decision that's coming for the CBOE is the biggest influence on that. And if that goes ahead, we could easily see Bitcoin at 250% gains from the start of the year, maybe even higher. So like you're talking like 50k plus. I think is possible. But I do think it will still get declined. The same as the Winklevoss one did again recently for the second time. But yeah, it's possible, but I wouldn't be expecting it. I think this year there's a lot of damage that needs to be undone, and I think that we will be back at that kind of level again. I think that ending the year at 20k for Bitcoin is still very, very possible and pretty likely. Like I'll probably put the odds of it happening at like 50% or something. 50% chance of it being over 20k. And I would say that the chance of it being under 10k is like, maybe less than 15%. So I'm very, very sure that we'll be back above 10k. Such an extreme drop for Facebook, isn't it an extremely good buy right now? Potentially. I think the thing you've really got to think about is the cause of the drop. Like you can't just look at the chart and use that as the basis for all of your decision making, especially with stocks. With cryptos, you can actually do it a lot more, I think. But with stocks, especially in the tech sector, there's so much that can affect it, like regulation and like privacy things and hacking things, and like all these kind of things that can affect the price. And in this case, what we've really seen is, I think, is a couple of things. We saw this concerns with the privacy stuff, which actually took place back here. This is what this big drop was here, and I was actually shorting during this drop. I was shorting from like here down to here, and I think I tried shorting again over here somewhere, and I mistimed it, so I lost out and had to close it at a loss. But the privacy stuff is a big deal, and the stuff that came after it has really changed the landscape entirely. And I remember saying at the time that one of the reasons I was bullish on Twitter is because Twitter is somewhat immune to those kind of privacy concerns, because they can't really there's no data for them to take. Everything is public anyway. And like it's very upfront in that, like if you use Twitter, you pretty much expect 5 years down the line someone's going to take one of your tweets and post it back to you entirely out of context. But so that was a big deal, and I think that has really started to drive a lot of people away from Twitter. I think there was some genuine sort of, I wouldn't say hatred, but like there was really upset people from the public that I think really didn't actually know to the extent of which data had their data and what they were doing with the data, and that this is what they're allowed to do. The fact that that Facebook has the right to use any of your photos that you upload to Facebook in advertising and things like that, people didn't know. And then when they looked into it and they saw that, oh, if you want to actually read these terms and conditions, you have to click through to another set of terms and conditions for this thing and another one for this thing, and in total I think there was 18 different pages of terms and conditions that you had to read. And wow, it's raining very hard outside, which is nice because it's been very hot. So I think people are really, really annoyed with that, and a lot of people left Facebook, or tried to leave Facebook, or decided to purposely not to use Facebook as much during that period. And we haven't really felt the effects from it here until this earnings report, because this one was so close to the event that we really hadn't seen it kind of the knock-on effects of it, I don't think. And it's very clear if you look at the earnings report, with their million users lost from Europe and America and Canada, North America basically going flat on users. It's obvious that they aren't really attracting new users, and the users that have left have been in significant quantities to really hurt them. The other thing I think is that people are just bored of Facebook now. There was this phase when everyone was starting Facebook pages for their companies, for example, right? And you had all these Facebook groups and Facebook pages for all of these little cool startup companies. But now they've all gone to Shopify, and they've all gone to Etsy, and they've all gone to Wix, and they've all kind of just gone off and built their own website instead. and done something somewhere else instead of doing it through Facebook. Which is again another small trend, but something that's important, I think, to note and recognize. And the reason for that is because the algorithm was so bad on their pages, in terms of who it shows content to and how it appears in feeds and things like that. So spending money advertising on Facebook was a complete waste of money. There's a really cool video about it. It's like a year old now, but anyway, I'm kind of rambling on a bit here, but so like all of these kind of trends have been building up. The fact that people are happier, especially the younger generation, in just leading pretty public lives means that they're more likely to use something like Twitter than Facebook now. And so what you're left with is all the old mums and dads left on Facebook, and all the younger audiences already migrated to Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, obviously, to Snapchat to a certain extent. Not entirely sure why, and to Twitter. And of course a few other platforms here and there as well. But I think that trend is something that's very, very difficult to reverse. And if you're only attracting old people, then your business is in trouble, right? You've got a limited lifetime on that. And of course, ad revenue is decreasing on the internet because there are more and more places to advertise. So there's like this whole vast array of things that have caused it. But the problem at the core is that Facebook's core product, which is Facebook, not Messenger, not WhatsApp, not Instagram, Facebook is just in trouble as a platform. It feels congested, it feels bloated, it feels like there's no real useful content there. There's too much advertising, there's too much content being shown that you don't care about, and people don't like it very much, I think. And I think they're in trouble until they can fix that. And suggesting that they can rely on just Messenger, WhatsApp, and Instagram to kind of pull them through, I think, well, we've seen from this earnings report just how important Facebook itself is to them, in terms of sentiment for the stock. So that was a really, really long answer, unnecessarily so, I would say. Can you guys hear this outside? Can you actually hear it, Jesse? The rain? No. It's substantial. It's substantial. A very large number of people only use Snapchat only. Wow. Interesting. I think the problem with Snapchat is that I just don't think it ever reached the network effect that it needs to take over. But this Facebook stuff is helping, to be honest, because I think people are turning away from Messenger. A year ago, Messenger looked like it was really taking over, but it feels like people are starting to move away from it again and towards pretty much anything else. Telegram, I think, is doing well. I think Kik's doing pretty well. So yeah. It's just used by flat earthers. Oh dear. Yeah, I'm just scrolling up to make sure I didn't miss stuff because I was just talking and not looking at anything. Invest 20k and get a bicycle in a year's time. Yeah. No Lambos are left. We're sold out of Lambos. LRCX is like Micron, but with potential. Huh. I haven't looked at Micron in a while, actually. Might have a quick look at them. Let's I'll have a look at Micron first, just because I'm kind of curious now. They've stabilized somewhat. They've had a bit of a wild ride, Micron, on a daily chart, because that's just too ugly to look at. Look at this insane rally here. Up here. I lost my nerve on that very, very quickly. I think I sold like here or something. But I had been buying down here, but I sold out pretty early on that. I was so scared. The problem with some of these chips, so I used to be like really into some of the chip companies, like stuff like Qualcomm and what was it called? There's another one that was on London Stock Exchange. I can't remember the name of now, that I made a killing on back in like 2009 or something. That was another like mobile chip manufacturer, and I made an absolute killing on them, but I can't remember what they're called now. I think they got bought by someone in the end. But yeah, I used to really be introduced into these chip manufacturers and really follow the hardware stuff very closely. But I just find it a bit boring these days, which is why AMD and Nvidia are more or less the only ones I really do anything with these days. On that front, I was going to have a look at it, wasn't I? I don't know if I'll trade it though, because again, like I just don't know if I can bring myself to look at all of the fundamentals. Oh, they just had an earnings today. Yeah, yesterday they released earnings, so that's the gap up from that. So they had a nice earnings report, and they're now sitting at the support level as well. I don't think it's something I'm likely to trade, to be honest. Unfortunately, sorry to disappoint. Looking at the portfolio, just kind of going up and down a bit today. Hammer pattern is very bullish. He is technically correct. Is that hammer pattern still there? I don't see that on my chart. He's on a 1 day chart, he's on eToro charts. Let's have a look. Sorry, I got distracted by some random post on eToro. Oh man, my trading view has been super laggy recently. If you haven't noticed, by the way, you may notice, if I go back to screen 1 and I go to screen 2, you can see I am using a different web browser. I have finally started using Brave, so I've got MetaMask up here. The intention is to start actually really trying to test basic attention token a bit more, because it's been, last time I tested it was like 7 or 8 months ago, that I really gave it a try, and yeah, I was quite interested actually. I managed to, someone somewhere has been donating to my website in basic attention token, so I actually had some money waiting for me when I installed the web browser, and synced it with my website. I actually had like, I don't know, $4 or something that someone somewhere has left me. Yeah, see, look at this. We've gone down a bit more further today. Mods are gone. So yeah, I'm testing Brave browser at the moment. Just something to note, I guess. I do like it. I love the new tabs thing where it says this number of ads blocked 16,000. I've had it installed, by the way, for a few days. It's blocked 16,000. How crazy is that? 17 minutes saved. I wonder what that's compared with. Because Edge claims to save a lot of time as well. That's one of their big things. Questions. I'm getting distracted. Have I traded Dropbox before? Seems to be at a support level. It's difficult with Dropbox because it's so new to really kind of use any TA on it, because for the most part it's just been flat. You can see along here. I've done an actual proper chart instead. DBX. Okay, so you can see it here. Like we're on a daily chart here, and there's just, there's not enough data to fill the screen. So I think it's a difficult one to trade. There's a decent like gap in this channel though. Like there's decent potential for just trading within the channel. Like, oops, what am I doing that for? Forgotten how to draw channels apparently. Like, there's some good space in here. Like if we measure that percentage wise, let's say that we bought right now and we looked to close at like 31.5 to be safe. 6.5%. That's actually pretty good, Actually pretty good. Maybe I will start trading it while it's in this range. It seems to love sitting in this range. I don't know when their earnings report is. The problem I have with Dropbox is that I just see them being disrupted, to be honest. I don't know. Building an entire business model around cloud storage when you're competing with Amazon, Google, Microsoft, and cryptocurrencies very soon. Well, I mean, technically already, but once they have a better UI, cryptocurrencies like Coin, I think, will destroy Facebook. They're already infinitely cheaper. So that's kind of my problem with doing it. Because as I say, even if I'm trading short term, I like to be trading in the same direction that I think it's going to go in the long term. So maybe I could do some short trading on it and kind of just trade next time it gets up above this kind of $31 level and trade it down and just do some short trading. But I'm not sure if I'm comfortable enough doing it this way, because I just feel like when a cryptocurrency nails their marketing and nails their user interface that's focused on cloud storage, such as Coin, we're just going to see Dropbox go under. I think. I don't understand how they compete with it. You know. So we'll see. It'd be interesting. I might go back and have a look at that old earnings report and check when the earnings are for this period, and maybe have a look at it. But you're right. I should probably look at trading this, because that's a really nice range to trade in if it kind of sticks in there, continues doing that. And right now, a long is tempting, I must say. But again, like, you've got to kind of discount this candle today, this big red candle, because every stock has had that today. Like, pretty much every stock. Put it on 4-hour chart, you can clearly see there's like a support line right in the middle of that as well, at $31 roughly. Yeah. Me orc, me spam, no mods, no ban. Wow, you guys. What do you guys think about Dropbox? I'm intrigued. Socialist Republic of J. Oh, thanks for the subscription. I only just saw that. Somehow I read like above it, I read below it. I didn't actually read it though. So thanks very much for the subscription, Big Head. I like to think of you as Big Head from the TV show Silicon Valley. I don't know if you are, but it would be amazing if you were, because it's a good show. Yeah, WeTransfer's very good. And yes, Google Drive and even Microsoft with Office 365. Like, you'd think that's where the old hack companies would go. Anyone who's not using it yet, you would expect to go there. One trick pony. Yeah, I was trading Nintendo. I actually closed a position this morning in it, because I just sort of it just seems not to be wanting to move at the moment. Nintendo is normally very, very volatile stock, very volatile. NT Doi. So here you can see it. I mean, like, I bought down. Oh, what am I doing? So I actually bought down here, and like I sold one of them like up here somewhere, and then I sold another one this morning before everything started dropping a bit further. Just because it opened a bit higher today on market open, so I was like, you know what, I'll take that. It's a couple of percent, I think, but I want to trade it. I do want to trade it, but I'm just not sure. I'm just not sure really. When Nintendo moves, it moves big. Like, look at some of these moves are absolutely insane. Look at the RSI. I know we're only on a 4-hour chart, but Even if we go on a daily chart, I bet these RSIs are nuts. What is that? And obviously, I don't know, man. This company, crazy, so volatile. I do like trading it, and as I said, like I think now is a good time to be long because we're kind of in this lull period, and the Switch is still reasonably fresh, so I'm sure there's some good AAA titles that are yet to come out. We've obviously got the Pokemon stuff coming as well, which will have a good impact on sales of the Switch, I would think. Maybe one to consider actually as we approach Christmas, thinking about it. So maybe like September kind of time would be a good time to come back to it and take a look and see where it is, because you want to get in before people are thinking about Christmas. But generally, I think it does pretty well towards those kind of periods. You can see. I was going to say you can see it did really well leading up to Christmas here. Well, I guess it did. Like this would be the build up to Christmas. Yeah, because Christmas is on the 25th. So, well, or 24th if you're in Europe. So, and then it slid down afterwards. But that's a pretty good build up over since September. You can see actually, straight, literally since September. Jesus. I wonder if it's like that on other years. Let's go back in time. Wow. So I guess the earnings report has kind of made that a bit more unstable to look at. Yeah, it's a risky thing to trade. I think I'd never use leverage on Nintendo. It just when it moves, it's insane, roller coaster. Western Digital, I actually opened a position in that yesterday, I think. I just think they've got a bit of. I mean, look how far down it is already. Absolutely insane. It's just because the whole market is just down so much today. But in the past, I didn't do great trading Western Digital. It felt like I was holding on to it forever, around this sort of like 90 level, and like it just never seems to go anywhere substantial. And I just felt like it was a waste of space in my portfolio. But at these prices, it is pretty appealing. I haven't really checked up on the Toshiba situation since I stopped trading it. So. Even now, even that I've got a position in it, I just saw it at that price and I was like, you know what, one position could be worth it. 1x leverage. They've got some, they've got some good stuff. Don't forget that Western Digital own SanDisk as well. They make all the micro SD cards and things like that. But yeah, like Western Digital, they're definitely a leader in that field. So you would think that there's some good potential there, but who knows? What are you currently long on crypto-wise outside of eToro? I'm still very long on IOTA. That's one of my bigger positions. See, I'll try and think. I don't want to open my wallet because I don't want to show you all how much money I've gained / lost. Lost recently. The past bit. Bitcoin went up more than I expected it to compared to some other cryptos. Let's see. So I don't have any Litecoin anymore. Let's just go on Coinlib because I've got it open here. I'll just kind of go down the list. So Stellar is a big part of my portfolio now. EOS is obviously a massive part of my portfolio. I've still got some Monero as part of my portfolio. VeChain has been doing really, really well recently. They've been up quite a bit. I've got some Binance, some Zcash, not much Zcash, but just a little bit of Zcash. 0x, that's also been doing very well recently. I've got some Decreds. Still got some Siacoin. Still bullish on Siacoin. I've got loads of Augur. Augur is actually one of my biggest positions at the moment, and it's also done really, really well recently, as has Basic Attention Token. I really think, honestly, so this is the web browser I'm using now, is for Basic Attention Token. And I think it's got some big potential, Last I heard, they have almost 4 million users of this web browser now, which is amazing from a standing start as like a totally unknown tiny little crypto project, just over a year ago, to be sitting at 4 million users. If you want to talk about a cryptocurrency gaining mass adoption and actually seeing a cryptocurrency become like the first big DApp, as it were, basic attention token might be it, because they haven't even introduced their advertising stuff yet. They're beta testing it at the moment. All they've really done is the tipping mechanics, and even that they've still only integrated with a few things like Twitch and stuff like that. I've actually got a link in my Twitch if any of you want to go and test it out and test out Brave browser. If you use it for 30 days, I get some free money if you use that link. So to be fair, if you want to give Jesse some money, then you can go to his Twitch and use his link, because I think he's got one in his now as well. But yeah, basic attention token I think has got more potential than I thought. Like it's been a crypto project that I've been hot and cold with quite a lot. Just kind of unsure on if they're biting off more than they could chew, and if they really are capable of delivering such a massive project. But so far they have, to be honest. So far they have. So yeah, I'm more bullish than I've ever been on it, actually. Another one that I'm still mega bullish on, that's just below it, is Nano. I still think that Nano is the best. So this used to be called Roblox, if you didn't know. And I was talking about it back when it was called Roblox. I think it was probably like, I don't know, must have been like September or something last year, maybe even earlier. Actually, no, it was probably summer last year, so like maybe July or so, that I was talking about Nano and Roblox. Yeah, since then it's performed pretty well. They did have a massive hacking scandal. I actually lost a lot of money from that hacking scandal, from an exchange that got hacked that had a bunch of this stored on it from me and many other people. So that sucked. But I like it so much that even after that, I went and just bought a bunch more. So that's sad. I guess that would be one of my bigger tips as well. Robo Voice J. What? It looks like Chrome. What are the benefits? So, again, I'm not super. Literally, I've only had it installed for a few days. But I'll kind of show you around some of it. I know the first thing actually you may notice up here is that it supports Tor, which is pretty interesting. It's a very privacy focused browser. So if I go up here to this Brave icon, you can see that basically you can turn your shields, as they call it, on and off for different websites, and it measures all of these different things. So anything that can potentially track you. Oh fuck, I'm on the wrong screen. Thanks, Jesse. My bad. It's because the chat's over here. I normally have these two around the other way. Let's do that now. Let's do that halfway through the stream, because I am prepared. Where's my Discord gone? There it is. Okay, there we go. Sorry, my bad. It looks like Chrome. Yeah, it looked like Chrome because you were looking at Chrome. So this is Chrome up here. This is Brave. So again, I'll show you. Go back over the stuff I missed. So over here, you can see, along with just like a new private tab, it's also got a private tab using Tor. So you can basically route through the Onion router, the Onion network effectively, and really effectively try and mask your IP address and stuff that way if you want to. If you're someone that's super focused on privacy, then that's a pretty useful feature to have just natively built into a web browser. Although I guess you can download like the Onion browser and stuff, but regardless, so it's a super privacy focused project is Brave, and Brave is the name of the web browser. Basic Attention Token is the name of the token that runs on Brave and on a bunch of websites and stuff. And so basically, Brave keeps track of a bunch of different things that are designed to track you or advertise to you or in some way disrupt your web browsing experience. So you can see here that for every website, it tells me how many ads and things it's blocking from each one. Interestingly, it blocked very little from CoinLib, which suggests that CoinLib aren't being super aggressive with their advertising. If you go onto some other websites, so let's say I go to yahoo.com, and then we have a look, you can see 10 ads were blocked, 11 ads, so still one loading, and it shows you how much time it takes as well, which is really interesting. So if I go to a new tab, you can see the amount of ads it's blocked for me in total since starting, the number of ads that are trying to track me, the number of times it has forced me to go to an HTTPS instead of HTTP, and the time it's estimated to have saved me visiting websites, which is kind of a cool little thing to have on the new tab screen. But obviously, like, if you look at this website, it looks a lot cleaner than normal because it does a good job of blocking ads. You can see like there's a sponsored link here still, but the image that goes with it is just white, which is good because it makes it really obvious where the advertisement was. So it's not perfect, but anyway, there's a bunch of cool stuff that you can do. So up here you have this little button up here, which effectively what you can do is you can heart a website up here, and it will include it in a list of websites that you tip, and you can set yourself like a monthly budget to tip websites, to pay them instead of taking on board advertisements. And so they've built it into like Twitch channels and YouTube channels, all this kind of stuff. If you use YouTube or Twitch, it's pretty easy to set up, or even if you have your own website. I actually set it up for my website, jaynemesis.com. So anyone who goes to jaynemesis with this browser installed and presses that heart icon on my website and has a budget set, they will effectively give me tokens every month, equivalent to how much time they spend on the website, effectively, in comparison with other websites that they've also put the heart next to. So it's a really, really cool thing. There's a few projects that have tried to do this sort of thing before, but I must say that just having it like this is a pretty elegant solution. It's going to be interesting to see how well it works. You actually get some free basic attention token as well by just using the web browser, just for signing up effectively. The sign up process is still pretty convoluted. There's still quite a lot of like steps involved to go through all of that. You have to sign up to like Upworthy or whatever it's called, and all these other things. But overall, it's cool. Uphold. There you go. Yeah, overall it's cool, and like it's not the smoothest browsing experience. It doesn't support Flash Player at all. So if you like watching anything that uses Flash Player, then that can be frustrating. I mean, it's mainly old websites that do that now anyway, but it can be a bit frustrating. It doesn't have all of the extensions that you'd normally be able to find on something like Chrome or Firefox. It is about as fast as any other web browser I've used, but like the top bar just feels really like ugly to me, to be honest. Like having a refresh button here and sort of here just annoys me. Like having all of this blank space just because I've got a few bookmarks, it's just like, why? It doesn't feel like there's much need for it. It feels like it could be condensed better. Moving tabs around is not an enjoyable experience at all. It needs a lot of tidying up, but it's very, very usable. And apart from those little niggles, you don't really notice, to be honest. I don't think. But yeah, if you're someone that's focused on privacy, honestly, I think it's worth a try. Worth a try. So if you want to, you can use the link in my description if you like, or you can use the link in Jesse's description on his Twitch, because he earns a lot less money than I do, so is probably more concerned with having more of it. I guess. Yeah, and of course it's not Chrome. It's independent. It is independent, like Firefox. I think a bunch of the guys that used to work at Firefox work on it actually. And the guy that's at the head of like the basic attention token project is basically the guy that created JavaScript as well. So it's not some nobody, like That was an interesting diversion away from usual viewing, our usual content, I guess. So yeah, I was doing some nice active day trading when the market's open, but there's not so much to do it on now. Bitcoin Cash seems to have stabilized now. After I think I just caught it just as this big rally was happening on everything. So here's Bitcoin over here. You can see this big rally in like the last couple of hours, and you can see it on everything else. So this is EOS at the top. Oh, so laggy. I need to change these two tabs to use Brave, but I just haven't got around to it yet. I have to like log into my trading view and everything. So But yeah, if any of you are using Brave browser while you watch me on Twitch, effectively I'm getting paid for that. If you have set it up to do so. Very small amounts. Very small amounts. But the advertising thing is the big thing, because Brave plans on creating its own ad network, basically, specifically, compatible with everything Brave related. And the way it works is that actually, when you're shown an advert, the money can go directly to the people that are consuming the advert. So if you see a Brave ad on a website, you get paid for having that ad on someone else's website. You get paid for viewing advertisements, which is why it's called basic attention token, because it's paying you for your attention. So it's like really, really cool stuff. And, obviously they're going to like heavily vet ads and make sure that it's, privacy centric and very focused on not doing any bad stuff. That's how I got you. That's quite funny. You probably are. Oh dear. Oh, it hurts. Oh dear. Good stuff. But yeah, I actually loaded up my wallet on Brave and put like $25 into it or something from my stash of basic attention token. Just so I can, play around with it. I've still not talked about Cardano, I'm sorry. I don't have any icon actually. It's still a project that I've had it on my like radar for a really long time, and I've just neglected to really research it and see what it's all about. I've heard some very smart people that I respect quite a lot say it's a really good project though. So do basic attention giveaways from the stuff that we give you for watching. I could do, to be honest. I could give it away again afterwards. That'd be kind of cool. Because it will tell me on my basic attention token like exactly how much I've got as well. Let's see if we can find my wallet, because I've still, I've barely used it, but somewhere. There we go, payments, right? So this is how much is in my wallet at the moment. I've got 87 BAT in total. And somewhere I'm on the wrong scene. Oh, I keep doing that. Okay, here we go. So these are my payments, right? And somewhere you can see everything that I've been on, and Wacky Jack. What's Agario? Good old Agario. Oh, can we just play some while we're playing? Just while we're here. Oh no, because I'm on a different web browser. So on my old web browser, you would have seen what my name is on Agario. It's just Bitcoin. I just float around as a big orange Bitcoin. Good fun. Great game. If you haven't played it, highly recommended. Highly recommended. But anyway, so you can see like how long I'm spending on different websites, and like the number of times I've been to them and all this kind of stuff. It's really like, I hope there's nothing dodgy on here. That's all good. It's all like news websites and stuff for the most part. A lot of Twitter. But yeah, so you can see all the kind of stuff I've been on, and here you can choose if you want to like you can set thresholds for like what gets included and what doesn't. And you can choose to manually do it. So you can choose to donate money towards those different things. So here are the two things. So oh no, take that away. Not giving Peter Schieffer any money. I was watching him talk shit and debate crypto. I don't want to give him any crypto for him debating crypto against crypto. That's not on. But yeah, so you can see here like you can set like a monthly budget, and then it just tips out to whatever websites you have here. So currently, I guess I'm giving some money to YouTube at the moment. But again, I've literally only been using this for like 2 days or something, so there's not much on here yet. You really need to tidy that room. There's so much crap in the background. Yeah. Don't ask. As Jesse said, we're basically living out of this room. exclusively at the moment, apart from our bedrooms, I guess. And we have just stuff stored in all the, like, so we have a spare bedroom upstairs and it's just full of all the stuff that used to be in the kitchen. And then we've got a bunch of crap in here basically because we're still waiting for our kitchen to be finished. And it's been a bit of a nightmare, to be honest. So it should have been done 2 weeks ago. In fact, 2.5 weeks ago now. And it's still not done. So the renovators. Yes, this new token economic model where people pay me to do my kitchen. Yeah, no, I wish. But yeah, so the room is a mess, and it's why I haven't been streaming much recently as well. And why I've been late on videos and all sorts of stuff is because I've had to spend a lot of time doing stuff related to that. And there's also been a lot of loud noises in the background that's kind of stopped me from doing stuff when I would normally do it to a certain extent. But hey, that's how it goes. So yeah, that's this web browser. Go give it a cheeky install and see if you like it. It's pretty cool. Look how many ads I've blocked. Amazing. Absolutely. And nice picture of Venice as well. Cool. So let's go back onto my portfolio. We've almost got a Bitcoin trade in the green. Way. Shame about everything else today. Spotify, what a disaster that's been today. I've got one of them back in the green again. No idea why it's been so bad. They had a good earnings report. But I guess the Facebook thing has definitely kind of knocked the market back a little bit, and I think Twitter probably hasn't helped. Although Twitter, again, their earnings weren't actually that bad. Point of view, positive moves from cryptos. I mean, I said, let's go back over here again. Let's go back over here. So I said, that's EOS. That was a Head and Shoulders that didn't work. I think I posted that on eToro earlier today. I said, let's see, when was it? It would have been, I think it would have been way back. What? Oh, Twitter. Oh. Let's open this and go on a daily. Trying to figure out when it was that I said it. It was just after like the 5K drop, I think, or just before it. I think it might have been this one. Yeah, I think it was during this period when I said I expect us to come down and test 5K, probably twice. But as you can see, so we're on Bitcoin again, daily chart, and you can see we have broken out from this downtrend line. Obviously, it's not like the full steep one from here, but that one doesn't really make a nice line, so this one makes more sense. And technically, you can see that this actually lines up with up here as well, kind of interestingly. So you could argue that this is just where it kind of spiked over and was super volatile because it shouldn't have been that high. But interestingly, we've spent the last 4 days outside of this range now, and Tass is incredibly hungry. He wants his fucking food. He doesn't give a shit that I'm streaming. He is the worst of the two cats. Zilliqa is way better. I've been training her to become a shoulder cat, so she just sits on my shoulders with the aim being that I can stream with just Zilliqa, like, just chilling up here. And trade. I just walk around the house with a cat on my shoulders. That'd be so cool, wouldn't it? I love cats. But back to the chart. Yeah, so you can see that it's pretty important that we broke through this area. What we're really looking for next, in terms of if you want something bullish, is the crossover of the moving averages. So this is the 200, and I think it's the 50, 50 moving average that we've got set up on here. And I think that's when you're next going to see something big happen. Ideally, what we really want is for Bitcoin to go sideways along here. It could drop down to here. I wouldn't mind that too much if it came back down to, like, this 8,700 or so level or whatever. Oh no, that's way lower. That's like okay. I can't see that screen. It's so small. Why is everything so small? But yeah, I could easily see it coming back down to like a 6K, high 6K range. and I wouldn't have a big problem with that as long as we are staying above this blue line, because again, like you can see, moving averages also act as support and resistance. I know it sounds really weird, but it's true. Like you can see it here where it propped this up for a bit, and then here is when it broke below it, and you can see it tried to go back above it, it failed, stayed down there for a bit, tried to come back above it again. This acted as resistance all the way along here. It failed again over here. It's acting as resistance again. And likewise with the blue line, you can see the same sort of effects where it's supporting during this big rally along here. So it's, I think that's probably the next thing to look out for, probably like a month away from it, I would say. I think Jesse might have like dismantled the cat because it stopped meowing. Oh, never mind, the cat's still alive. Yeah, there's a few things we can look out for. Again, like you look at the RSI on the daily chart. I sold some positions in Bitcoin right at the top here because I suspected that we would see this this pullback. I in fact called it and said that we're going to pull back to between 7,900 and 8,100 or whatever it was that I said, something along those lines, which we've now done. I expect us to trade in this range. We'll see. We'll see. At the moment, there's not enough volatility potential really to be worth trading. Like if we measure from like between these two support lines, and that's suggesting that you are able to buy and sell perfectly. You're looking at still only 6.5% maximum. So realistically, when you take into account spreads and you take into account all of the other goodness that comes with it, such as not opening and closing at the correct times, you're looking at maybe like 2 or 3% a trade, and to me that's just not quite worth it. So I'd prefer 5% plus in the moves that I try and look for. Can you get a cam in the top left? What? A cat cam? I could do actually. I could put a camera like right here. Never pointed at her face. If she ever sits on me. Yeah, on my shoulders. Which currently she doesn't. She struggles and almost takes out my eyes with her claws. So far so good on that front. Open position in Dash recently, Jay. Does seem a bargain. Still happy. Yeah, Dash is a really interesting one, because from a technical perspective, in terms of what they're actually doing, not technical like analysis, technical in terms of like the actual currency. They're working really hard. They have a good team. They're working on some very, very cool and innovative stuff. They've been around for a long time. They've got a good track record. They've got good, unique properties to their currency and the economics behind it and how everything works. But their marketing is just not there at the moment. And on top of that, they've just been late at delivering on promises. And the Dash fund, the decentralized fund that sits in the middle of it, the DAO, effectively that they have, has not been producing anything of real value. I don't think for Dash recently. There've not been any cool projects coming out of it as such. Like they're still doing a lot of stuff around like the weed industry and things like that, which is a good market to try and attack because they have a lot of problems with payments. But it feels like Dash has just kind of been a bit underwhelming recently in terms of marketing side of it and like community side of it. In terms of the actual product though, and the fundamentals of that cryptocurrency, it is a very, very strong cryptocurrency. And I still think it deserves to be in the top 10. And that's saying something because, the competition in the top 10 has got much, much fiercer recently. If I come back up here to the top 10, you can see like the kind of stuff we're looking at. I mean, ignore Tether obviously, but Tron have obviously just launched their main net. Monero is getting up there now. We see VeChain coming up to take an assault on the top 10. Tezos is, of course, now around. Binance Coin, hilariously. Every time they release a quarterly update for Binance in their quarterly coin buyback stuff, that goes up substantially. You've got 0x and Qtum and a few other big projects down here. Icon, Decred, that have potential to push their way up into this top 10 and are really putting pressure on. And I think the things that are likely to lose out in the top 10 are Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin. and possibly to a certain extent Ripple. I think Ripple could easily fall a couple of positions. You can see like how much closer it is to the rivals than it used to be. But Dash is still very, very good, and I don't think it should be a 2 billion market cap. You know, look at Litecoin and compare it to Dash. It's a joke. You know, they were neck and neck not that long ago. And if you look at what Litecoin has done and look at what Dash has done in that time, like the actual development that's gone to those products, Dash is much, much, much better. Litecoin's really not had much going on, which is why I closed my positions in Litecoin, because I see either, well, you know, there's one of two things is going to happen, right? Dash is going to either crawl its way up to the same kind of range as Litecoin, or Litecoin is going to drop to where Dash is. I think actually it's going to be Litecoin dropping to Dash for the most part, and then Dash is going to recover much later on when they kind of sort out their marketing and stuff a bit more. But it's still fundamentally a good product, and it kind of broke my heart to have to close as many positions as I did in it, because I just feel like it's going to take a long time for it to recover, unfortunately. Do I hold any Zilliqa? I don't currently. I was pretty skeptical of this project when I first found it. Very skeptical, actually. And had some arguments with their entire community for a while, which was very funny because someone on eToro was effectively pretending to be smart and have arguments with me, but was just going and posting my responses in the Zilliqa Discord channel or Telegram channel, and asking them to help him defend against me. And a lot of the comments that actually were said in the Telegram were saying that my criticisms were quite fair. I've changed my mind on it a bit since then. I still think, you know, people read too much into like scientific papers and stuff sometimes, I swear, because the thing that he kept pointing out is like, oh, it's from, you know, this university in Singapore, and they've got all these professors on board. They've written like 7 scientific papers, and you go and read the scientific papers, and it's about 6 pages long, and it says something that we all already know about how consensus mechanisms work and things. It's like, you know, it's not doing anything new or exciting. But it's an okay project. It's not a bad project. I just don't know if it's really got that much of an edge, because effectively the big thing about Zilliqa is effectively they're using side chains, and you know, their scaling solutions are effectively the same as Ethereum's, except that they've already got theirs working to a certain extent. And while that's cool and all, you kind of got to think in the back of your head, yeah, but what happens when Ethereum turns theirs on? You know, got a big first mover advantage. And of course, there's, you know, a lot of competition in that field. Anyway, yeah. So Zilliqa, you know, it's a decent crypto. It's not one I hold. Don't think I really plan on holding any just yet. If I did, it would be a pretty small position, like maybe 1% of my crypto portfolio. It's probably one worth keeping an eye on, though, I would say. Thanks for the question, though. Good question. Good question. Yeah. But again, like, I think by the time they achieve that, is that going to be so special? You know, if you look at EOS right now, EOS is already at like 3,500, I think, was the last I saw it at, transactions per second, which is pretty good considering that, you know, it's only been out for a month and a half or whatever. Actually, about 2 months now almost. And again, like, you compare it to something like Nano, something like IOTA, which is technically, you know, basically infinite. So Emotic and Harmony. I don't think I know either of those two. I found Harmony Coin. That's what you're talking about. But looks a bit small. So I don't know if that is it. The trading volume is a bit small, to say the least. A bit small. So I would hope that that's not the one you're talking about. It's a bit young. I wouldn't be investing in something so young. I'm the kind of person that has, steered away from ICOs though for the most part. The only ICOs that I've really been involved in is Augur just after its ICO, Ethereum just after its ICO, Status just after theirs. That's more or less it really. I think of what else I got into early. Golem, I was into Golem reasonably early, but nothing at ICO level really. Okay. I think ICO model is going out the window. I think the new model is the one that we have with EOS, which is airdrops. I think that is the new funding model of choice. I'm gonna check I haven't missed any questions over in the question log because there are a few there. See if I've read them already. Cardano. I keep ignoring Cardano. Cardano's main man, Mr. Hoskins, Charles Hoskinson, whatever his name is, did a rather controversial tweet recently. It was actually in the EOS Reddit. So I'm going to find it and show it to you because I find it hilarious how arrogant this guy is, which is pretty much what was posted here. And it did the rounds. I saw actually the lead dev of Dogecoin was calling it out on Twitter as well. His guy I also really respect because he's pretty brutally honest about projects, and he's also not someone that's like a hardcore maximalist. I can't find it. Basically, if you haven't seen it, there's been like this big thing going on with MetaMask up here. And my MetaMask isn't actually set up on here yet, but look at the fox. I love MetaMask. Whoa. Oh, yeah, I just have to click off it. So with MetaMask, they had their app removed from Chrome. So if you want to install MetaMask, be very fucking careful at the moment because they might steal all your money. But the app has been removed from the extension store thing, and Charles decided to tweet MetaMask to ask about it, and MetaMask, understandably, considering the fact that they had thousands of tweets from thousands of people, said, "Please submit a support ticket if you would like to, discuss something with us," and then gave a link to the website. And Charles replied with, "Do you know who I am? I am the CEO of this and this, co-founder of Ethereum, founder of Cardano." And in my head, I just thought, wow, you're also a bit of a prick. So yeah, not my favorite guy in the world. Like, I've met Dan Larimer, and like people compare both of them because, in fact, to be honest, they hate each other and they argue quite a lot. And they're both leading projects that are pretty big and right next to each other in CoinMarketCap or CoinLib, as I should say, because it's so much better than CoinMarketCap. So yeah, you can see Cardano and EOS, two massive projects. Probably two of the biggest projects from 2017, 2018, actually. And they absolutely hate each other. But I've met Dan Larimer, and he was so down to earth and so chilled out and such a nice guy. And I fundamentally disagree with him in terms of political, ideological stance. But he was still very cool with me and didn't care and saw that I wanted to build something cool, and we spoke about a few different things, and he was a cool guy, and he was nice and friendly and good to talk to. Whereas Mr. Hoskinson, I have also argued with on Twitter because he really likes posting memes about how capitalism is amazing and how socialism is terrible. And he just seems like a really nasty guy, super big-headed, incredibly arrogant, and just not a nice guy. So, sols. But it's a shame. Like, I invest in Cardano, but I don't like the guy at the head of it. Anyway, I was going to talk about the price, and I've ignored that and just spoken about the guy in charge of it. So, because he did Ethereum Classic, as you may or may not know as well, where he was before he started Cardano. Where is my Cardano? Where is it? So it's had some interesting price movement recently, actually. I've done reasonably well trading Cardano. It's been more volatile than some of the others recently. I haven't kept up too much with the actual community and like seeing what they're working on and stuff at the moment. Why am I looking at a chart on here? I'm such a noob. Let's go over here. Let's find Cardano. Let's use. Oh, Kraken hasn't got it. Okay, well I guess we're gonna have to use Bittrex then. ADA to Tether, USD Tether. So here you can see that chart. And we're on a daily chart. Let's put it on the 4-hour. I haven't noticed any good opportunities since this bit to trade it. I did trade up here and made a good amount of money off those moves. I think I actually traded this move here as well. And I recently closed a position. I think probably actually it was probably a bit into this drops, like around here or something. What are we on 4-hour? No, it would have been back here somewhere. So maybe in this bit, I closed a trade as well. At I think a very, very small loss. But I don't see too much going on there at the moment. Again, 200 moving average is actually flipped here, which is an interesting thing to take note of. You can see what happened last time that happened. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Are we just going flat while this blue line kind of slowly gets on top of the price? Looks like we could be about to launch up. There's no like patterns that are obvious that I can see. Kind of, no, there's not. So yeah, I mean, I'd say it looks reasonably bullish for it. And again, if you go back onto CoinLib, he says, you can see that it has fallen back a bit. I mean, it should. I consider it as something that kind of sits between EOS and IOTA, and right now it's much further to the IOTA side, and I think maybe it does deserve to kind of catch up, surpass Litecoin certainly. It's not got very far to go to do it though. So yeah, I think it could be one that does reasonably well. That's out of interest. Let's just do this over last 30 days. Another reason that CoinLib is amazing. I wish they had like 3-month and 6-month though. That would be amazing. Or like all time. Oh my god. If you're watching this CoinLib guy, I think his name is Bob, can't remember. That would be amazing if you can implement that. I would love you for it. Yeah, so you can see that like compared to those around it, it's performed pretty well recently. So if anything, I'd say IOTA is probably a pretty good buy at this point because they've been working really hard on a lot of stuff. I follow IOTA a bit more closely, and they've been doing a bunch of good stuff. But equally, if you compare it with something like Stellar or even Bitcoin, it's potentially still got more room to do more. Likewise, though, I think EOS has been very, very flat, kind of consistent with Bitcoin for the most part during this period, and I think they've got a lot of potential to break out soon as well. So those are the ones that I'll be looking at. I mean, that's why I shared that chart that I had of EOS earlier, because it really looked like it was going to head and shoulders straight out the top of here and back up to this $10 price range. But unfortunately, it didn't do it. You can see here, like we had all of these lovely trend lines converging on this point here. So we had the head and shoulders that ended here. We had this trend that ended here. We had this long-term downtrend ending here. But I think the bad news for Bitcoin just kind of triggered it not to do that. If we go onto a one-day chart and look at the moving averages. Yeah, interesting. Interesting is the word. Difficult because they haven't had a 200 moving average for very long. But it has actually just crossed here. But we'll see. We'll see. The RSI sitting comfortably in the middle as well. It's like a nice place to be. Yeah, I still think there's potential for this to break out to the upside on EOS. I think EOS, Cardano, and IOTA are all worth having in your portfolio right now. I think all three of them are good bets. Jesse would very much like for EOS to head back up a bit more. Any more questions? What have I answered? Probably not all of the questions. Very much enjoyed the Lambo question. What's happening? What's happening to your Lambo? I don't know. I wish I could help. But right now, the cryptos won't let me. Actually, right now, the stock market won't let me. Up until today, the stock market was being very kind to me. Answered that. I kind of already said the stuff that I'm long on crypto-wise outside of eToro, but I'll mention it again. Out of the top 10, the cryptos that I hold the most of are Bitcoin and EOS, first of all, by fair margin, followed by Stellar and IOTA, then Cardano, Ethereum. Let's see what else. Monero, I've got a good amount of. Dash, I've got a good amount of. VeChain, I've got a bit of. Yeah. 0x and Aura, two of my favorite projects at the moment. Yeah, there's a few others, but I guess those cover the main ones. Walton Chain, got a bit of that. Can I make you feel better about holding EOS when all of r/cryptocurrency is hating on it? Yes, r/cryptocurrency is full of idiots. Absolute idiots that have double standards. So criticized EOS about things like its delegated proof of stake system and things like that. And on the same note, they are entirely fine with projects like Neo, which have basically the same system, or Tron, which have basically the same system. They're like super hypocritical sub that just follow the crowd, and they are. It's actually interestingly, I watched the interview from Bloomberg that was posted in r/EOS recently, and they were talking. There was this interview with this guy over in America who runs like a fund or whatever, and he was talking about the projects he likes, and he said that he likes EOS. And the interviewer was like, "Okay, that's interesting because there's a lot of hate out there for EOS. You know, why do you like it?" And he said that he thinks pretty much the same. He likes it for the same reasons I like it, which is that it's trying a lot of new stuff and it's approaching things in a slightly different way. Like it does sacrifice some decentralization, but probably not enough to cause any actual problems, which is the most important thing, right? It just needs to be enough. It doesn't need to be super decentralized. It just needs to be decentralized enough to make sure that it can't ever be shut down or, you know, controlled in any way. But they're attacking a lot of interesting problems, and the people that are attacking it from r/cryptocurrency are the same people. And it really does feel like this to me as well, because I witnessed it back then. He said this, and I agree with him, and it's exactly what I feel as well. It's the same people that were attacking Ethereum when Ethereum was first started. And you know, there was lots of controversy around Ethereum when, you know, there was no ERC20 token standard, or certainly not 721, things like that. There were only like 2 or 3 apps that had really been announced to be started on it. One of them was Augur, which is why I'm a big fan of Augur. Another one was the DAO, which obviously tanked, and again, like, you know, people were super critical of it, hardcore maximalists. And it's the same attitude that we're getting from altcoiners towards EOS now, which is really strange. But yeah, it doesn't bother me one bit. It doesn't bother me one iota. Get it? Iota. Look, it's iota. A good joke. Yeah. Any more questions? Because if not, I'm going to go and continue listening to this first solar earnings call, and stare at these numbers until they make sense to me. To be fair, they make pretty good sense already. Not a great quarter for First Solar, but not terrible. Could be much worse. as they say themselves in the call, they are in a good position to navigate through this storm of absolute shit. They didn't say that. I may have paraphrased that slightly. Well, I guess everyone's gone to sleep. Everyone's fallen asleep. My voice is too soothing, and there are no more questions left. Everyone is bored of me. Cool. Well, I'm going to head off now then. If you're not part of my Discord, do go and join it because it's been a bit dead recently, and I am attempting to be more active in there. Ish. That being said, I've not said anything in there yet today. But Liam Davies is in there as well if you like him. So you know, that's the draw now because he's cooler than me. So yeah, head over to my Discord. Follow me on Twitter if you don't already, and especially if you actively use Twitter, because I tweet a bunch more than I post on eToro. All of my like quick thoughts and stuff are much more likely to post there than anywhere else. Beware, I will sometimes post about socialism and the environment, but for the most part, it's crypto centric and trading centric. And I will see you guys next time I stream. Cool. Right, I'll see you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye.